ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ
ಓಂ ನಮಃ ಪರಮರ್ಷಿಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಪರಮರ್ಷಿಭ್ಯಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಉಪಾಸಕಾನಾಂ ಯದುಪಾಸನೀಯಂ ಉಪಾತ್ತವಾಸಂ ವಟಶಾಖಿಮೂಲೆ ತದ್ಧಾಮ ದಾಕ್ಷಿಣ್ಯಜುಷಾ ಸ್ವಮೂರ್ತ್ಯಾಂ ಜಾಗರ್ತು ಚಿತ್ತೇ ಮಮ ಬೋಧರೂಪಂ ಅದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಂ ಅಕ್ಷೀಣದಯಾನಿಧಾನಂ ಆಚಾರ್ಯಮಾದ್ಯಂ ವಟಮೂಲಭಾಗೇ ಮೌನೇನ ಮಂದಸ್ಮಿತಭೂಷಿತೇನ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಲೋಕಸ್ಯ ತಮೋನುದಂತಂ ವಿದ್ರಾವಿತಾಶೇಷತಮೋಗಣೇನ ಮುದ್ರಾವಿಶೇಷೇಣ ಮುಹುರ್ಮುನೀನಾಂ ನಿರಸ್ಯಮಾಯಾಂ ದಯಯಾ ವಿಧತ್ತೆ ದೇವೋ ಮಹಾನ್ಸ್ತತ್ವಮಸೀತಿ ಬೋಧಂ ಮಮಾದ್ಯ ದೇವೋ ವಟಮೂಲವಾಸೀ ಕೃಪಾವಿಶೇಷಾತ್ ಕೃತಸನ್ನಿಧಾನಃ ಓಂಕಾರರೂಪಾಂ ಉಪದಿಶ್ಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾಂ ಆವಿದ್ಯಗಧ್ವಾಂತಮಪಾಕರೋತು. ಅಪಾರಸಚ್ಚಿತ್ಸುಖವಾರಿರಾಶೇಃ ಯಸ್ಯೋರ್ಮಿಮಾತ್ರಂ ಭುವನಂ ಸಮಸ್ತಂ ಗುಹಾಹಿತಂ ತಂ ರಮಣಂ ಗಭೀರಂ ಚಿಂತಾವಿಹೀನಂ ಹೃದಿ ಚಿಂತಯಾಮಿ. ಕರುಣಾಪೂರ್ಣಸುಧಾಬ್ಧೇ ಕಬಳಿತಘನವಿಶ್ವರೂಪ ಕಿರಣಾವಲ್ಯಾ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ್ ಅರುಣೋ ಭವ ಚಿತ್ತಕಂಜಸುವಿಕಾಸಾಯ ತ್ವಯಿ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಸರ್ವಂ ಭೂತ್ವಾ ಸ್ಥಿತ್ವಾ ಪ್ರಲೀನಂ ಏತಚ್ಚಿತ್ರಂ ಹೃದ್ಯಹಮಿತ್ಯಾತ್ಮತಯಾ ನೃತ್ಯಸಿ ಭೋಃ ತೇ ವದಂತಿ ಹೃದಯಂ ನಾಮ ಅಹಮಿತಿ ಕುತ ಆಯಾತೀತ್ಯನ್ವಿಷ್ಯಾಂತಃ ಪ್ರವಿಷ್ಟಯಾತ್ಯಮಲಧಿಯಾಂ ಅವಗಮ್ಯ ಸ್ವಂ ರೂಪಂ ಶಾಮ್ಯತ್ಯರುಣಾಚಲತ್ವಯಿ ನದೀವಾಬ್ಧೌ ತ್ಯಕ್ತ್ವಾ ವಿಷಯಂ ಬಾಹ್ಯಂ ರುದ್ಧಪ್ರಾಣೇನ ರುದ್ಧಮನಸಾಂತಸ್ತ್ವಾಂ ಧ್ಯಾಯನ್ ಪಶ್ಯತಿ ಯೋಗಿ ದೀಧಿತಿಂ ಅರುಣಾಚಲತ್ವಯಿ ಮಹೀಯಂ ತೇ ತ್ವಯ್ಯರ್ಪಿತಮನಸಾ ತ್ವಾಂ ಪಶ್ಯನ್ ಸರ್ವಂ ತವಾಕೃತಿತಯಾ ಸತತಂ ಭಜತೆ ಅನನ್ಯಪ್ರೀತ್ಯಾ ಸಜಯತ್ಯರುಣಾಚಲತ್ವಯಿ ಸುಖೇ ಮಗ್ನಃ. ಹೃದಯಕುಹರ್ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಕೇವಲಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಮಾತ್ರಂ ಹ್ಯಹಮಹಮಿತಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಆತ್ಮರೂಪೇಣ ಭಾತಿ. ಹೃದಿ ವಿಷಮನಸಾ ಸ್ವಂ ಚಿನ್ವತಾ ಮಜ್ಜತಾ ವಾಂ ಪವನಚಲನರೋಧಾದಾತ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠೋ ಭವತ್ವಂ. ಯಸ್ಮಾಜ್ಜಾತಮಿದಂ ಜಗಚ್ಚ ಸಕಲಂ ದೇಹಾದಿಜ್ಞಾತ್ರಾಂತಕಂ ಯಸ್ಮಿನ್ನೇವ ಲಯಂ ಚ ಯಾತಿ ಹೃದಯೇ ಗೂಢಶ್ಚ ಯೋ ಕಾರಣೇ ಯಂ ವೈ ಕಾರಣಕಾರಣಾತ್ಮಕಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮಬೋಧಂ ವಿದುಃ ತಂ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಿಶೇಷಭೇದರಹಿತಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಖ್ಯಮೇಕಂ ಭಜೆ. ತಸ್ಮಿನ್ ಸರ್ವಚರಾಚರಾತ್ಮಕತನೌ ಏತತ್ಕಥಂ ಭಾಸತೆ ನಾನಾರೂಪವಿಕಾರಕಾರಕಲುಷಂ ಕಲ್ಪಾಂತಸಂಜೀವಕಂ ಇತ್ಯಾಲೋಚನಲೋಚನಾಂತರನಿಶಂ ಯಲ್ಲೋಚನಂ ವರ್ತತೆ. ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾನೇತ್ರಮಿತೀಹ ವೇದಭಣಿತಂ ಸ್ವಾತ್ಮಾನಮೀಡೇ ಸದಾ. So for last few days we have been meditating on Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's teachings, the 40 verses Ulladu Narpadu. So yesterday we saw the 11th verse in Ulladu Narpadu. Aṛivurum tannai அறியாது அயலை அறிவது அறியாமை அன்றி அறிவோ அறிவு அயர்க்கு ஆதாரத் தன்னை அறிய அறிவு அறியாமை அருமே. This was the verse that we saw yesterday. The teaching is very simple. It is nothing but the knowledge of the self, or you can say the awareness of the self. The attention is focused towards the world generally. It is turned inward and focused towards the seer, that is one's own real nature. Atma samsthitihi svatma darshanam atma nirdvayad atmanishtata. To abide in oneself is Atma Darshanam. There is no two self, one to see the other. So here Bhagavan, in this verse, 11th verse, Bhagavan speaks about aṛivu aṛiyāmai, knowledge and ignorance. When you study something in a college or school, you are for knowledge. To remove the ignorance. But here in Vedanta, it is neither ignorance nor knowledge. Who is ignorant? Who is the knower? And what is his real nature? Hence it is called Paravidya. It is Paravidya. It is also called Paravidya or Paravidya. Aparavidya and Paravidya. The transcendental knowledge, the supreme knowledge, which is the knowledge of the self. And that completes the job. The mind finds its fruition, fulfillment in that knowledge. So this is the only thing which Bhagavan is concerned about. That is why sometimes people used to ask doubt, then also Bhagavan will ask who is the doubter. Find out the doubter. Know your real nature. Tannai aridal indri pinnai ஏது அருகில் என் தன்னை அறிந்திடில் பின் என்னை உள்ளது அறிய. Without knowing oneself, even if you know everything else, what is the use? Once you know your real nature, nothing else exists to be known. So this is, you can say, the entire teaching of Ramana Maharshi, and it is Vedanta also. So sometimes in Ramanashram, all kind of people come, so you have to cater to all kind of people. Some music concert will be there, or some other program will be there, especially during Jayanti or some other occasion, Navaratri. So once they took the list of programs to Bhagavan and showed him. Bhagavan said, you go on, do whatever you like, you do. Then they could have kept quiet, but they asked. It is as if Bhagavan is not interested in this. Bhagavan is saying, Then Bhagavan said, did I tell you to organize all these things? You want it, you do it. Then they said, whatever Bhagavan likes, that we want to do. Oh, generally Bhagavan's nature is, people will call him Bhagavan, but when he refers to himself, he will say Swami. So he said, oh, Swami ki yadi ishtam. You want to know what Swami likes? Swami, if you want to know what Swami likes, hear this from me. Enquire who am I, turn your mind inward, do the vichara of who am I, and abide your real nature. That is what Swami likes. If you can do it, do it. Otherwise, whatever you want, you do. There is no speciality about anything else. So this was Bhagavan's stance. So, if you want real happiness, you have to know the self. There was one great saint, Ramalinga Swami in Tamil Nadu. He wrote a poetry. Generally, all poets, they are fascinated by seeing the full moon. So when you see the moon, poets are fascinated. They write poetry on moon. Children, they have their standard of poetry. And great poets, they sing about the moon. Kalidasa has written. And many other poets have written. And those who are devoted to some god, they will see the moon-like face of their god. When you talk about Rama, you will say Rama Chandra. His face is like moon, very cool. And Divine Mother also, Raka Chandra Samana Kanti Vadana. She is like the moon. Her face is like moon. And of course, people like us, we will have our own imagination, chapati or appalam, something like that. Doshai. You are hungry, you will feel the moon is like a doshai. So according to our stature, we can imagine. But this Ramalinga Swamigal, he speaks about the moon in two ways. One thing he says, you are shining in the jata, the matted locks of Shiva. He has kept you in his jata. I also want to come there. Nadan mudi மேல் இருக்கும் வெண்ணிலாவே அங்கு நானும் வர வேண்டுகிறேன் வெண்ணிலாவே. This Venila means that moon. You are in the jata of Mahadeva. So I also want to come there. Then I will have the true happiness. Tannai arindu inbamura vennilave. Oru tandiram nee kooriduvai vennilave. It says, to know my own self and to attain happiness, you tell me some method, some technique by which I can realize the self and attain true happiness. So that is it. So to know the self is the entire teaching of Bhagavan. Actually, we need not bring this vanilla moon to our talks on Ulladu Narpadu. It is just to spice it, put some sugar, that's all. Here our Muruga Mama has given one song, aṟivu aṛiyāmai, from Tirupugal. Arunagirinathar, he also belongs to Tiruvannamalai. See, Arunachaleshwara has only one teaching. That is, in Bhagavan's case, he taught, inquire what is this I, then you will find the I disappears and I shines forth. Something else from within. The true consciousness reveals itself. That can happen if you study Ulladu Narpadu and attain. Or you can have death experience and inquire who is dying, I am not the body, inquire and realize. Or even if you want to commit suicide, jump from the tower of Arunachaleshwara temple, then also you get this knowledge. So he tried that because he was fed up with life, with all kind of negativities, negative things in his life. That is what the story tells. So he was suffocated. So he was fed up with living. In fact, that kind of state, the state where you feel that I don't want to exist, is the right moment for Atma Vidya. Because the only state where the I can cease to exist is realization, jnanam, samadhi. Without knowing that you want to kill the body. That is where the blunder is. So he wanted to kill the body, but kill the body inside Arunachaleshwara temple. So when he tried to jump from the top of the Vallalar Maharaja Gopuram, then he fell down, but he did not die. Somebody caught hold of him, rescued him and gave him Upadesha. Chumma iru, not big Upadesha. The Upadesha, the greatest Upadesha, but it is Chumma iru sollara. Let not the mind operate. Let the mind be without thoughts, free of thoughts, and be still. This was the Upadesham given, and he says he identified the teacher as Subramanya, as Muruga. He identifies him as Subramanya. He says, he appeared before me as my teacher. Pemman Murugan, he came before me. What is he? Piravan Iravan, the deathless, the birthless. Shemman Mahalai Tirudum Tiridan, Pemman Murugan, Piravan Iravan, Summa Irisollara Endradume, Amma Purulundru Marindilane. When he said, keep quiet, be still, oh, the great wonder is, the world disappeared, the mind disappeared, the ego disappeared. Yānagiya yannai vizhungi, from something from within, it swallowed the ego, the individual sense, the I. Yānagiya yannai vizhungi, verum tānai nilai nindrathu tatparame. Only the tān, the true self, shown forth. Arivondru ara nindru, aṟivaṛ aṛivil piridondru ara nindra piraṉ. That is the song here. Very powerful, very beautiful. Arivondru ara nindru. What knowledge did you get? He says there is no knowledge. When the mind goes out through the senses and grasps things, then you say you know something. So that kind of knowledge is not there. So aṛivu ondru ara, no knowing. Aṛivaṛ aṛivil piridu ondru ara nindra piraṉ. It is neither knowing nor not knowing, neither grasping nor non-apprehension like sleep. Nidrana vidya, grahanam na vidya. Bhagavan says, neither taking knowledge through the senses is knowing, nor sleeping, quietening the mind is knowing. Beyond both, nidra padartha grahanetara syad, you neither sleep nor do you think. There is pure awareness shining within. Chideva vidya, that pure chit, that awareness is realization, illumination. It is the true knowledge. And that Arunagirinatha says here, Arivu ondru ara nindru. No grasping from outside. Arivar Arivil. See, the normal knowledge, once you know it, it's over. You know the earth is not flat. You know that it is global. It is like a ball. While we were studying in a convent, I was studying once from library, the globe was lost. Then they found a very mischievous boy who was studying for the 4th standard, took it for playing, for football. Okay. So it is like, you know that is all. Formerly people thought it is flat. But now you know this. What is the difference? It is just a knowledge. And knowing the outer world, knowing all of you, it is only a knowledge. And even knowing myself, many things about me, that is also a outer knowledge. Aṛivu. Arivar Arivil Piridundru. The knowledge of the self is when you know that it is actually not knowing. It is abidance. As Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, it's abidance. The mind stays in that knowledge. The mind abides in undifferentiated, indivisible consciousness in one's own real nature. There is neither sleep there, no unconsciousness, nor even thinking, thoughts. Thoughts are utilized, but thoughts serve their purpose and they are gone. And only that knowingness, awareness remains. So that pāṛaṇ, that Bhagavan, that God is inseparable from one's own real nature. So, aṛivu aṛiyāmaiyum aṭṭadu vāmē. Bhagavan here says it is neither aṛivu nor aṛiyāmai, neither knowingness nor not knowing. Aṟiyum adu uṇmai aṛivu āhādu. Knowing, like studying, learning, too much importance is given. In our Orthodox people, many they say, Vedāntam vāsikiradu. Learning Vedanta from somebody. I read Vedanta. But வாசித்து கூறு ஒண்ணாதது, கூற ஒண்ணாதது, பூசித்து காண ஒண்ணாதது, வாசித்து காணொணாதது, பூசித்து கூடொண்ணாதது, மாயைக்கு சூழொண்ணாதது. As Arunagirinathar says, Maya cannot bind it. By simply doing puja, you cannot become one with it. And by reading, you cannot speak on it, know it. Vāshittu kāణunnādu, you cannot see it. By reading, you cannot see it. Pūsittu kūdaonnādadu, māyakki shūžonnādadu. He says, so that thing, it is not by reading, by knowing that knowledge, you know, but you are the same person. It has not become your experience. To simply know, simply understand, we say experience. Anubhuti has not happened. But again, people have the misunderstanding that after knowing, then you have to attain Anubhuti by doing something else. It is not so. That is the mystery of it. The knowledge is same. Somebody asked Bhagavan, Bhagavan, is there any secret about your teaching? Or whatever you have in the books is over. Bhagavan said, whatever are there in the books is perfect. Nothing special, no secret to say. Then why? Why, even though I have read all the books, I am remaining the same place? If people ask that, why? What happened? The only problem is Arivar Arivil Piridundru Aranindra Pāṛaṇ. That Aṛivu has to become Arivar arivil arivundru ara verara nindridum. Inseparable. You have to become that. You have to identify with that. You have to know that it is yourself. These books are not speaking about some Brahman. Ganeshana used to say, one of his philosophy professors, he wanted to study Vedanta. So, no Sanskrit knowledge, so he gave him an English book on Vedanta. Ramakrishna Math book. After studying that professor said, I understood everything, but who is this Atman? Said Atman, the self, they were using Atman. So he asked, who is this Atman? Who is this that man? So it is something else for you. It is about somebody, something that you are talking and thinking. It is your real nature. It is about you, unless you recognize that the knowledge is in you. See, after listening to Bhagavatam for 7 days, the king said to the great sage, I have attained it. Siddhosmi, that is real listening, no? Siddhosmi, anugrihitosmi, I am blessed. Siddhosmi, anugrihitosmi. Bhavata karunatmana, it is your pure compassion that the knowledge is not staying apart, separate from me. Now, what is the sign of knowledge? It is absolute fearlessness. He says, Takshakadibhyo mrityubhyo na bibemyaham. About Bhagavan's death experience, it is written that he dealt a death blow to death. Like that, here Parikshit also, he says, Mrityubhyo na bibemyaham. I no more fear. In whatever form the mrityu, death comes, I will not fear. No more fear. Ajnanam cha nirastham me. My ignorance is removed. Jnana vijnana nishtaya. The knowledge has found fruition in atmanubhuti, in experience. I have found the nishtha. So no fear. So this is the proclamation, declaration of the king after attaining that Brahmajnana. What did he do? No sadhana. No pranayama, no yoga practice, nothing. 7 days he completely exposed himself to that great sage. Absorbed the teaching, that's all. He allowed the teaching to just finish him off. And the teaching became his real nature. Jnanam became his swarupam. So, aṟiyuma duṇmaiyaṛi vāhā. Bhagavan says simply by mentally knowing. It is not true knowledge. aṟidaṛku, aṟivittaṛku. With nothing else for it to know, with nothing other than itself to make it known. aṉṇiyamiṉ it shines by itself without there being anything other than itself. There is nothing else to be known. Bhagavan many places remarks, what is there to know? What is there to attain? What is there to achieve? Your very nature is that. Shanti, peace is your very nature. There is nothing else to attain from outside. So, tān aṛivu āham. This is the Mahavakya in this 2 words. One thing, tān aṛivu āhum pāṛaṉ aṟivaṛi. You can very well easily mistake Vedanta to shunyata, nothingness. Bhagavan said, pāṛaṇ. Pāṛ means nothingness. It is not nothingness. It is purnata, tān. It is existence as I am. It is the I am. Tān aṟivaṛi, the self which is of the nature of pure awareness is true knowledge. Tāne tāne tattvam. We have to remember this. Tān aṟivaṛi, pāṛaṇ. Pāṛ means what? You have no hold on over it. See, the so-called knowledge Bhagavan calls as pāṛ. Not only nothingness, even the so-called something in the world is also pāṛ. The entire worldly life Bhagavan has named as pāṛ. And he expresses his gratitude to Arunachaleshwara. He says, you rescued me from this pāṛ. பாழினில் வீழாது ஏழையை காத்தூன் பதத்தில் இருத்தி வைத்தனையே ஆழியாம் கருணை அண்ணலே. Arunachala, you are the ocean of compassion, ocean of grace. ஆழியாம் கருணை அண்ணலே பாழினில் வீழாது. I could have fallen into the pāṛ. See, the worldly life is like that. Go on doing this and that and achieving and attaining many things. At last, when you see what has really happened to you, it is pāṛ. Anything that you, great thing you achieve. Somebody said they went to the top of Everest. Now what? Come down. That's all. All worldly achievements are like that. Your name will come in some paper, that's all. You put some effort, time bound. Any worldly achievement, name, fame, it will give, that's all. It will not solve your problems. So this knowledge is Upanishad. Upanishad means coming very close to you. Even Charvaka is better. The atheist, Indian atheist is called Charvaka, the sweet-tongued person. He at least says, look after your body. Eat well, do some exercise, walk, yoga, it's all good. But don't believe in this rebirth and all these things. Don't waste your life in all these things. At least that plane he reaches. He is not telling you day and night go and work somewhere, make money for somebody. And you are not getting anything. Money is in the bank, but you don't know. Nothing solid achieved. Not even taking food at right time. Not having sleep. Keeping awake in night. The atheist comes to help you in that stage. Atheism, in the Indian Darshanikas, he is the first step of spiritual life. He brings you from wandering in the world to your body. Then Vedanta is happy. He says, he is a Shariratmavadi. Till now, you were a Gaunatmavadi. At least let you have the body as yourself. At least reach there. The other people, for them, their computer is their self. Their company is their self. Their bank account is their self. Name and fame is their self. At least from there, collect your mind and put it in the physical body at least. So you have come near the body. Aṇṇamayamatmanam. Then you find the body you cannot take care very well. You need some more deeper layer is there, energy level is there. So correct that level. Then you try doing that things. That is why, you look after body, then you come to yoga. Prana. You need not be spiritual, but prana. Then you find prana does not solve the problem. Go deeper, the mind, so many thoughts, emotions, psychic disturbances. Start dealing there. Then you find you have to push more deeper. The knowledge, the vijnanam, discrimination, understanding. and push more deeper, you get a little bit of bliss, ananda, and it is not stable. Then you try to stabilize there. That is how the knowledge progresses. You start your inquiry from the body and end it in the self, not from outside the world. So Vedanta begins from the body to the self. So, okay. aṟiyuma duṇmaiyaṟi vāhā. All our aṟivu about the worldly life, is Bhagavan calls pāṛaṉ. And he says, I would have got lost in the world. And before I could have got lost, Arunachaleshwara caught hold of me and brought me here. But worldly people will not understand. Bhagavan was sitting in Gurumurtam or Virupaksha Guha. I think it is in Pavijakundra somewhere. All his head, there were matted locks, jata, and the whole body was full of mud. He had not taken bath for many days. And no picture, no photo of those period. Big nails. And common people used to do many funny things. The visitors, they will have all big leader, he will bring all devotees and say, this Swami is 300 years old. See his nails. He looks young because of his yoga. All these bluffs will be happening around. In that period, somebody came from Madurai or Tiruchuri, and they were crying. That old lady was crying, says, all that punyam, that virtuous deeds that Sundaram Iyer and Azhagammal did, has it brought it to this level? They are thinking that so much punyam is being done by their parents. For that, he should have become a big officer, a very rich man, very wealthy man. Instead of that, see, with muddy body, with all jata and with big nails, has it fructified like this? We have lost faith in this. This is the worldly understanding. And Bhagavan says, thanks Lord, Bhagavan, Arunachala, you have rescued me from this pāṛaṇ, this dangerous flow towards destruction. Vishanti nāshāya samruddha vegaha. As in Gita, Krishna says, you fall into that river of annihilation. It is rushing with tremendous force towards annihilation. That is the world. It is very difficult to escape from there. You want to achieve something, go into it, but now you are not able to come out of it. That is pāṛaṇ. The story is given that one person was standing on the river bank. He found a good blanket floating in the river. He wanted to catch hold of it, take it, bring it. He jumped into the river. And people were saying, don't jump, don't jump. He jumped and caught hold of that blanket, complete. A good woolen blanket. And then he started sinking and screaming and said, rescue me, rescue me. And people who were standing on the bank said, you went there and caught hold of it, leave it and come. And he said, I have left it long back, now it has caught hold of me. They said, how can a blanket catch hold of you? He said, it is not a blanket, it is a beer. This is our story. We get into the world to become something ambitious, achieve. All kind of ignorance, rotten stuff is there in our head. In the name of religion and spirituality also. It will not take you anywhere. The true knowledge means it has to find fruition now, not by time. If it is not finding fruition, sadhyo mukti, as Shankaracharya says, sadhyo mukti, instantaneous recognition. If it is not happening, then there is something wrong in you. No God can rescue you. Because anything that is not yours, you are identifying with it, then how can someone rescue you? You are under illusion that something has happened to me, rescue me, rescue me. Nothing has happened. Come out of it. Superimposition. That is what Vedanta says. Adhyasa. So that is what Bhagavan here says, pāṛ. It is not pāṛ. Everything else is pāṛ. Anātma is pāṛ. Shankaracharya said, pāṛ means darkness. Two things are there. One is light, the other is darkness. And the Atma, the self, the Tān is light. And everything else is darkness. This is how Shankaracharya begins his commentary on the sutras, Brahma Sutras. The introduction, Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayinoho Tamah Prakashavad Viruddha Swabhavayoho. It is contradictory like light and darkness, he says. The Atma and the world. The Atma is self-effulgent. You have to just know it, that's all. The world you cannot resolve because you enter some cinema theatre and the cinema is very boring or very tragic. You want to change the climax sitting in the seat. How is it possible? If you don't like it, go out of the cinema theatre. Sitting there, murmuring, the cinema is not good, I gave money and came here and it is not good. You don't like, you go out. Why should you sit there and watch this nonsense? No, I paid money, so I have to sit and watch. This is the problem. So you go out. In Tiruvannamalai, in 1950s, there was no cinema theatre. So sometimes they will make cinema theatre with temporary arrangement, a tent. So like that they made a theatre, and first time a theatre in which people will speak, you can hear the noise. Otherwise there was no sound. So the sound will come. That kind of film came. And they made it famous by saying Peshum Padam, the film which speaks. So the common people, they have no money. And they will not come also if you call for a theatrical show. So they said, we will give you tea, vadai, muruk, everything was guaranteed and people came. And when they came and they were sitting in the theatre, the first scene was about 50 or 60 horses. Warriors coming in horse. Tuck, 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 that horse is coming like that. It is coming towards you and sound is there. People all got frightened and jumped out of the theatrical show. They went out. So this is, you take this as real, nobody can rescue you. You superimpose the things on you, including your body, including your mind, including you, the ego. Just like in dream, you superimpose a you, a I. And that I has no existence, but that I goes through various experiences. And when you wake up, along with that, the I, the body, the incident, the event, the emotion, everything vanishes. Like that is only Nidra kalpita deshakala vishaya jnatradi sarvam yatha mithya tadvadiha api jagrati jagatsu ajnana karyatvataha. As in Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya says, just like in dream, the person there, the event or emotion, all those things are unreal when you wake up. Like that is in the waking state also. The I, the event, the things happening has no existence at all. So, tān aṛivaḥum, the substratum where all these things are happening, that I am, that aham is knowledge, it is pure awareness. pāṛaṉ aṛi. All other things are pāṛ, means it can, if you pay attention to it, your energy will be drained out. The other, aṉṇiyam, is very, very risky from Vedantic standpoint. Anatma chintanam tyaktva kashmalam dukkha karanam chintaya atmanam anandarupam yan mukti karanam. Shankaracharya says, thinking about the anatma, the non-self, kashmalam, it is very dirty. Dukkha karanam, it will create grief in your life. Renouncing that, chintaya atmanam, start contemplating on your real nature, holding on to your real self. Atmanam anandarupam, it is of the nature of bliss. And mukti karanam, it is the cause for liberation, freedom. So, tān aṛivaḥum pāṛaṉ aṛivaḥ. This is the nirnaya, the confirmed opinion. Any knowledge gained by the mind is limited. The mind can either think or sleep. What we mean by I know is merely memories or imaginations or concepts. All are nothing but thoughts. My knowledge is only a vikshepa, a projection of the mind. Projection is the waking state. In sleep, the mind temporarily subsides. Sleep and projection, otherwise known as laya and vikshepa, are nothing but mind. These do not in the least tarnish our real nature. Real knowledge is the awareness of the self. So this is the 12th verse. There is a poem here also. Soul luminous being. The mind sought its own seed in its bosom and dived within to the abysmal depth. Neither being nor non-being was there. Death whirled around in darkness, mere void. Grace awakened the inner vision. This death whirled around darkness is all, it sounds very mystical. But everything other than the self is a form of death. Every force around is a form of death. Grace awakened the inner vision that saw through this, And light was there in the womb of darkness. Light was there, kutastha chaitanya, that they say. The light was there in the womb of darkness. Beyond all dwells as the one soul luminous being, as the Swayam Prakasha Vastu, the self-effulgent being. So the next verse, verse 13 is Sirivaya Jnanamam Thane Mai Nanava Jnanam Ajnanamam Poyyam Aññānamume Jnanamam Tannai Andri Indru Anigal Tam Palavum Poi Meyyam Ponnai Andri Undo Puhal. This is the verse. Jnanamam Thane Mai Nanava Jnanamam Jnanam Ajnanamam. The famous example of gold and ornaments Bhagavan is giving in this verse. When we say jnanam in Vedanta, it is generally translated as knowledge, but it is not correct. It's not precise translation. Because when you say knowledge, basically knowledge itself gives you an idea of information about something which comes to your mind in some language. So much of limitations are there. In Sanskrit or in Tamil or in English or in any language. So some kind of verbal expressions stored in the mind. That is what generally people call as knowledge. That is not it. In Bhagavatam, there is the most profound dialogue between Krishna and Uddhava, where Uddhava says to Krishna, Lord, even after listening so much, my doubts are still persisting. I am unable to cross that border. Then some mysterious things are there. Many great scholars, they have asked what it means there. What is Krishna saying? He says, Sayesha jivo vivara prasudihi pranena ghoshena guham pravishta. Very abstruse ideas come there. Because this person asked, I am not able to understand, and Krishna tells something which is not even able to attempt to understand. And what is that? It became very easy when we say Bhagavan asking who is having the doubt. The same thing he puts in another form. He says, the Jiva Bhava, the I, when it is not there, no knowledge is possible. In deep sleep, that is why you are not able to know anything, because the knower is not there. The knower I itself is not there. The Jiva Bhava is not there. But the first thing that appears when you wake up is this I thought. Vivara prasutihi. The Jiva takes birth from the hole in the heart. An imaginary hole. You cannot find a hole there. Of course, some people have holes in the heart. That is different. That heart is different. That hole is different. But here, the hole from where the I thought arises. Pranena goshena. It makes so much gosha, shabda. And the shabda, it takes the help of shabda and manifests as the mind, the senses, the body, the world, everything. And that shabda becomes para pashyanti madhyama vaikhari. Then it enters what we call the guha, is this body. So when you contact the sound, first what is available is this language, bhasha, and lot of differences. This is English, this is Sanskrit, this is Tamil, this is Malayalam, and all fanaticism also. Tamil is the greatest language. Who knows? Only people inside Tamil Nadu we can say. And some other person from some other state, he will say our language is the greatest language. All nonsense. So this is based on outside thing. But when you weep, is there any language? There itself you loses it. When you laugh, is there any language? No. When you become angry, no language. When you get bored, no language. Shankaracharya in his Bhashyam, he quotes a verse where he says, Swapane the language by which you converse in dream. Have you ever observed whether it is in English or Tamil or Sanskrit? Quite possible you can interpret it as Tamil or English, but it is not. Something is expressed. Your brain, if it is little bit active, then it will interpret it in some language, but there is no language. So there, the language loses its form and becomes madhyama. It is called madhyama, the middle stage. And then deeper you go, the ideas becomes mere vibration, waves. And that is pashyanti. There you don't have any clue of what is going to come out. Then deeper you go, that very Shakti vanishes into pure consciousness, para. This process of four planes constantly are happening in every person. When you take a mantra japa or self-enquiry, the only thing that you do is consciously you begin from Vaikari, enter the Madhyama stage, every plane, you are holding that plane with your will and entering into the further deeper plane of Pashyanti and into the para, into the maunam, into the pure consciousness state. And there, your knowledge is not something which is expressed in language. That is why we say it is maunam. It is samadhi. You began your quest with some verbal idea like Tattvamasi or Aham Brahmasmi or Who am I, something like that. With that you started knocking, going inward, or some mantra also. You hold on to it, go inside. Then the mantra becomes mananatattrayate. Mantra which is in the verbal plane is not at all a mantra. The mantra starts becoming a mantra only inside, in the plane of taranga, in the plane of wave. Then you push it deeper, it is pure vibrancy, throbbing of consciousness. Then you take it deeper to the level of mauna, where it is still, silent. At the same time, it is the supreme state of dynamism. It is not static state. You are absolutely awake, alert, no thought, no sleep, fully alive. It is pure light. So there it is called jnanam. That is true jnanam. Jnanamam thane mei. The Tan, the awareness, the I am is jnanam. Nanavam jnanam. When the mind comes out, it with the same stuff, it knows many things. Too much things are known, scattered, dissipated. Ajnanamam. Bhagavan says it is ajnanam. Because you are losing your centeredness. You are losing yourself, scattering yourself in the circumference. You will have that samsara tapa, shaivinai shudum. As Bhagavan says, the power of karma will start burning you. So push the mind to the center, let it abide in the center and become Shanti. Poyyam ajnanavume jnanamam, the unreal ajnana also, jnanamam tannai andri indru. Even to say I do not know, you need the light of the self, the awareness of the self. This mic will not say I am unable to understand. I do not know. But I can say, you can say, because the awareness is there. So the light of awareness, pure consciousness is needed even to say I am ignorant. When people used to say I am ignorant, Bhagavan used to ask, who is saying this? Jnanamam tannai andri indru. Jnanam is your very nature, your swarupa. Anigal tam palavam. Ornaments are different, very many, like a chain, a ring, a nose ring, a ear ring. With gold you can make many things. Somebody has made a pen with gold. Someone has spoon with gold, eating vessel as gold, puja samagris as with gold. But what exists is only gold. Anigal tam palavum poi. If someone says, I don't want any ornament, give me only gold. Gold should not be anything. That gold is not possible. Gold is available in some name and form. Anigal tam palavum poi. All the names and forms are all false, unreal. Meyyam ponnai andri undu. Without the real gold behind, no name and form as reality. The name and form and all these things appear. It is all nothing but that gold, that Atma. And that gold is Arunachala. Bhagavan says, Arunachaleshwara is golden hill. In Manikya Vachakar says, Adakashir Manikundre says, Hadaka means gold. The treasure hill of gold. It is made of pure gold. And what is gold? It is Atma. It is Brahman. The gold is only a symbol. It is Brahman. So this verse we will see continue tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Yato mamatma bhavasi tvameva tato na vachyam mama kinchidasti yatha taveshtam kurubam tathaiva tvam atmanatham ramanam bhajam.